So just a disclaimer, this video is going to be unscripted. I'm not going to have anything, it's just all fresh out of memory right now. And this is like my third time trying to record this, because I'm halfway through it. My mom walks in, tells me what I have to do for homework or chores or whatever. I forget where I am, and I got to record all over again. So hopefully this time there's going to be no interruptions. And the movie that I am reviewing today is 007's A License to Kill. Now for me personally, even though I just saw this movie like 2 days ago, I would have to put it in my top 10 favorite James Bond movies, because it did everything right. Timothy Dalton was as great as ever as James Bond, and you really saw the character, and you really connected to him as you never did before. I mean, Roger Moore, you could just say like, oh yeah, he's going on a mission, oh yeah, he has to kill that guy, okay, great. But here you really feel for the character, which I definitely liked. And that's another thing that this movie did. It strayed away from the 007 formula where he, you see what happens, you see something bad happen, James Bond gets briefed on it, he goes to Q, he gets his gadgets, goes and interrogates some people, uses the gadgets, and he, basically just defeats the bad guy. But in this movie, he is doing all of this just out of revenge and just to seek revenge for his friend, Felix Leiter. It did have all the things that the series was known for. It had the martini, shaken not stirred. It had the beautiful Bond women. There was actually two of them in this movie. There was one, I can't really explain it. There was one of the bad guys. She was the bad guy's lover, and then she basically fell in love with James Bond. And then I think there was a CIA agent, or just an agent, and she also falls in love with James Bond. And you see them both come together at the ending, which was kind of weird. But they're both gorgeous and they're both great. So, hey, thumbs up for that. I also really loved the villain, Frank Sanchez. Frank Sanchez? I forget. But anyway, Sanchez was a great villain. Although it seemed like he came out just out of, like a Scarface. He looked just like he came out of Scarface, which didn't really feel like a James Bond villain. He was a good villain, but I don't say he was a good James Bond villain. He was just trying to, sell drugs. So, hey. And the final tank chase across the mountains was fantastic. You really, even watching it nowadays, when you've seen, great special effects like in Transformers, 2012, Avatar and stuff, watching this stuff is almost more exciting because there was no CG. They really did all this stuff, and once you watch it, it's really amazing stuff. So I give props to the last tank battle. Anyways guys, this movie gets a 4 out of 5 for me, just for being just an overall good movie, and be sure to click the subscribe button above.